I wanted to attend the training because the business that I was involved in up until December of 2010, I had to shut it down because of the lack of revenue being generated. And I needed another, form of earning money. And I had some banking experience. I worked for Bank of America in the past, and I thought that this would be a good fit. I did check out the company and talk to several people in the industry, and they told me that based on companies that were providing this type of program, that this was the most in-depth, intense program available. And that's why I ended up going with commercial capital training. The training was good. It absolutely met my expectations. It was an intense training program. We would get to the office at 7 o'clock in the morning and go into the evening with just a few breaks, during the day and lunch. And during that process, we did studies, case studies, which were really helpful, where we'd go over a live case and go through it, dissect it, come up with solutions in terms of getting a loan for the borrower. And I learned a lot, not only from the training and the input from John and Chris, also from the other people in the class, because there was a diverse group of people in our class, and we were able to learn a lot of things from them and their experience in making loans. I just completed a deal that the company was headquartered out of Federal Way, Washington. It was a tire company, not for family vehicles. It was for the large vehicles, for tractors and off-road type vehicles. They were attempting to purchase a courthouse, the courthouse in Billings, Montana. The courthouse was shut down and moved across the street, and then the government actually sold the old courthouse. My company made an offer on it. Their offer was accepted. It was about $3 million, and they were attempting to get financing. The original bank that they were working with backed out of the deal at the last minute, and the deal became available. They were looking for somebody that could bring a loan to the table. Got involved with the deal, found out in addition to needing to close within less than 30 days, getting an appraisal and all the things you have to do with a real estate loan, the building had an asbestos problem, and that's why all the lenders backed out. I was able to bring a lender to the table that actually closed the deal in 15 days, waived the requirement of the appraisal, made it optional so they could get an appraisal later after the fact because of the time frame they needed to close the loan on. And I walked away with a check of $70,000, and I was involved in this for probably 30 days max. So it was an ideal situation where it was just timing, being in the right time, being in the right place at the right time, and also being able to find a lender that would step up to the plate and do the deal. The actual lender was trying to expand their portfolio and was very interested and excited about doing the projects in Billings, Montana. And they did the deal, and I was lucky that I was involved. The training was excellent. Chris and John spent a lot of time going through projects that they had completed. It's obvious that they have a lot of experience in the business, which we were able to find out as we went through the training. I think the actual case studies of actually going through a project from A to Z, how they got the project, what the challenges of the project was, how they overcame the project, how they funded the deal, and took care of the customer was very good. The other aspect of the training that was also very helpful is that every day we had different lenders that would do a conference call, if not come into the meeting room, sit down and talk to us, and we could ask them questions about projects that we had known about in the past, or case studies that we were working on in class, or just in general, and that was very helpful, in addition to making some contacts. So when we completed the class, we'd have the ability to pick up the phone, call somebody that had some familiarity with us, so we could talk to them about getting a deal complete. That was very, very helpful. I think that's one of the most important aspects of the training that carried on, into the real world. I think the training absolutely provided me with an opportunity to make an excellent living. In terms of dollars and cents, my goal is to have my business be generating somewhere between $250,000 and $500,000 a year, and I basically don't have a lot of expenses. I think that realistically, there's a lot to learn after you get out of the training, and I think that growth period after leaving training and getting up to speed is, a lot of it has to do with the ability to call commercial capital and get, answers to questions and make sure that I'm putting a package together that's bankable. Being able to pick up the phone and call and talk to somebody and, get them to give you an intelligent answer and some directions is important, or to email, which I've used both methods. And I have to go back and look at some of the questions that I was asking in the beginning after I started, and it must have been funny to possibly John and Chris of, why are you asking this question? It doesn't make any sense. And I look back at some of the deals that I looked at in the past and some of the questions I asked, and I've come a long way. And but it's helpful to be able to pick up the phone, talk to somebody, so they can give you some directions and help you understand a little more after the class of what you're doing, because that's crucial, because you need to continue to grow in this business and get better all the time. I think the lenders were good. About 3 or 4 months out of the program, I did a deal with 2 of the lenders that were part of the package. Being able to pick up the phone, call a lender, identify yourself as a commercial capital training group attendee, get you right to somebody that takes your call seriously and listens to what you have to say, and determines if it's something that's doable or not, and that's invaluable. I found that over the course of the 2.5 years that I've been in the business, there's a number of brokers out there that may have a source of business, but they don't have a lender to take it to. So they've got half of the program, but they don't have the other half. If you have a deal, but you don't have anybody to take it to, you can't get it funded and you can't make any money. One of the things that's been helpful to me is that I've hooked up with a number of these brokers that are finding deals but don't have banks, and because of the contacts that I made, the lenders that were presented to us through commercial capital, I was able to get a deal done and split it with that broker. Half of something is better than 100% of nothing. So that's one of the ways that I've garnered some success in this business. I'm very happy that I attended the training. I think that a lot of things that I didn't understand during that intense week of training have, I've been able to understand them the 2.5 years outside of the training. Again, I think the ability to pick up the phone and talk to somebody and bounce a deal off of them is very important and is helpful, where a lot of brokers don't have that opportunity. So they bring something to the table that may be wasting a lender's time. The next time that lender sees, hears that this person is calling, they may not be all that anxious to talk to the person. Whereas that if you are bringing a deal that's doable, even though it may not be a perfect presentation, the lender will work with you, so to get the deal done, and then hopefully every time you bring a deal to the table, you learn something, so the next deal is even smoother than that. I would do it again because, if you ask me that, maybe the first couple of weeks after the training was complete, I don't know. But now, absolutely, I would do it again, because now I'm able to see how valuable the training was, plus the support that goes along with the training. I would absolutely recommend the training to somebody that was considering it. The advice that I would give them is to be realistic. It's like any other business. You know, if you go out there and you do a big deal right away, it may be harmful to you because then you think every deal is going to be like that, and that's not the case. I was looking at a deal probably 2 or 3 weeks out of training that would have generated about $90,000 in commission. And at this point, and it sounds crazy to say that, I'm glad that deal didn't go through because I probably would have just relaxed and thought every deal was going to be that easy. I would tell anybody going into this they need to be realistic. They need to have some funds set aside so that they can run their business a while with very little or maybe no revenue at all. I would tell them to learn, the terminology in the business. So when they're talking to a real estate person or an accounts receivable person or an inventory person or merchant advance person, that they're talking the language they understand. Make sure that they bring a complete package to the table. Make sure that they understand the package so they can tell the lender, because the lender has lots of deals on their table, what's going on with this person, and be ready to tell them every time you get on the phone. And if the lenders perceive you as being a competent person, bringing good deals to the table, then they're going to take you serious every time. Every deal may not get done, but when you get on the phone with them, they're going to know you're bringing something to them that's doable, and that's going to be helpful to you. And I think when I first started, I didn't have those expectations. I thought I'd just get a package, give it to a bank and get paid. It doesn't work like that, because like 9 out of 10 deals or whatever that number is don't get done. But that one deal that does get done, like the $70,000 deal that I did, obviously puts me in a position to move forward in this business and set my expectations, to make a lot of money realistically and not just luckily. So that's what I think.